Zektar stared at the data screen with growing horror. His blue-scaled hands trembled as he scrolled through the report about the third planet in a distant solar system. The planet was called Earth by its inhabitants, and everything about it filled him with dread. The Velinari had been monitoring radio signals from this world for several months now. What they discovered made the entire diplomatic council lose sleep. Earth was not just dangerous. It was a nightmare world that should have been impossible for intelligent life to evolve on. "Look at these temperature readings," Zektar whispered to his assistant, Yilmuth. "The surface temperature changes by 50 degrees in a single day. How does anything survive that?" Yilmuth's large purple eyes widened as she read the data. "And look at the weather patterns, sir. They have storms that move at hundreds of miles per hour. They call them hurricanes and tornadoes. The creatures on this world live through these regularly. The worst part was learning about the dominant species. They called themselves humans, and everything about them screamed danger to the peaceful Velinari. The biological analysis was terrifying. Humans were bipedal predators with forward-facing eyes designed for hunting. They had strong muscles, dense bones, and could run for hours without stopping. They evolved from something called persistence hunters." Zektar read aloud from the report. "They would chase their prey for entire days until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. Then they would kill it and eat it. The Velinari had evolved on a gentle world where the biggest predator was about the size of a house cat. They ate fruits and plants that grew peacefully in their gardens. The idea of chasing another creature to death was beyond their understanding, but the terror did not stop there. The humans' entertainment was filled with violence. Their stories were about war, fighting, and conflict. They watched shows where creatures fought each other for sport. They played games where they pretended to kill enemies. "Sir," Yilmuth said, her voice shaking, "I've been studying their history files. They have had wars that killed millions of their own kind. They built weapons that could destroy entire cities. And they did this to each other." Zektar felt sick. The Velinari had not had a war in over 1,000 years. The last conflict in their history was about who would get to name a new flower species. It was settled with a poetry contest. The High Council met that evening to discuss the human threat. The great chamber was filled with worried voices as the Velinari leaders debated what to do. Some wanted to contact other peaceful species to warn them. Others suggested they should hide and hope the humans never found them. "We must be careful," said Elder Kethler, the oldest member of the council. "These creatures are dangerous beyond our understanding. They live on a world that would kill us in minutes. They fight and hunt and destroy. If they discover space, travel, they could threaten every peaceful world in the galaxy." The council voted to begin secret monitoring of Earth. They would watch the humans from a safe distance and learn everything they could about these terrifying Deathworlders. Far away on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison was having a normal day at the Space Defense Center in Colorado. He was a tall man with brown hair and calm green eyes. Jake had served in the military for 15 years before joining the new space program. His job was to watch for anything unusual coming from deep space. "Captain," called Lisa Brooks from her station. She was a young woman with red hair who specialized in communications technology. "I'm picking up some strange energy readings from the outer solar system." Jake walked over to look at her screen. The readings showed regular pulses of energy that did not match any known natural phenomenon. "How long have you been tracking this?" "About 3 hours," Lisa replied. "The pattern is too regular to be random. It looks like some kind of scanning." Beam, Ryan Carter, a tactical officer, joined them at the station. He was a serious man with black hair who always worried about potential threats. Could it be from another country? Maybe they launched a satellite we don't know about? Jake shook his head. "The energy signature is not like anything we have on." Earth. This is something new. The team worked through the night, trying to understand the mysterious signals. They ran every test they could think of, but the energy readings remained a puzzle. The signals seemed to be focused on Earth itself, as if something was studying their planet. It's like someone is taking pictures of us from very far away, Lisa said as she analyzed the data patterns. Jake felt a strange excitement mixed with worry. For years, scientists had wondered if life existed on other worlds. Now it seemed like something might be watching them. But was it friendly or dangerous? The Velinari monitoring station hung invisible in space, far beyond where human technology could detect it. Inside the small ship, 3 Velinari scientists worked carefully to study Earth without being discovered. They had been watching for weeks, and each day brought new horrors. They keep animals in cages for food, reported scientist Meldar with disgust. They raise these creatures just to kill and eat them later. And look at their cities, added his partner, Felrin. They build structures that reach into the sky, competing to make them taller and taller. It's like they are trying to conquer the very air above them. The worst discovery came when they studied human medical practices. The humans actually cut open their own kind to fix problems inside their bodies. They called it surgery, but to the Velinari, it looked like controlled violence. They are comfortable with pain and injury in ways we cannot understand, Meldar noted in his report. They even do dangerous activities for fun. They jump from high places, race in fast vehicles, and climb dangerous mountains. They seek out risk and danger. As the days passed, both species continued their secret observations. The humans grew more certain that something was watching them from space. The Velinari became more convinced that humans were the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. Neither group realized that their fears and curiosity would soon lead to a meeting that would change both of their worlds forever. The stage was set for first contact between a species that feared conflict and a species that the galaxy would learn to fear for very different reasons than anyone expected. The accident happened on a Tuesday morning. Yulnov was running a routine scan of Earth's moon when her equipment suddenly sparked and went dark. She tried to restart the systems, but nothing worked. The small Velinari scout ship was now floating dead in space, invisible shields failing one by one. "Emergency signal activated," she whispered into her communicator. "This is Scout Ship 7. We have total system failure near the 3rd planet. Requesting immediate assistance." But help was 3 days away at minimum. Yulnov and her 2 crew members, Polak and Genti, huddled together in the ship's central chamber. They had enough air for maybe 2 days if they stayed very still and quiet. "What if the Deathworlders detect us?" Polak asked, his voice shaking. He was the youngest of the crew, barely out of training. "What if they find our ship?" Genti tried to stay calm, but her hands were trembling. She was the ship's engineer and knew their situation was desperate. "Our shields are failing. They might be able to see us soon." On Earth, Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started ringing. Lisa Brooks was already at her station, her fingers flying over the controls as she tried to understand what was happening. "Captain, we have a contact near the moon," she called out. It appeared suddenly, like something just became visible. Jake rushed to look at the screen. There was definitely something there, about the size of a small airplane, but with a shape unlike anything made on Earth. It was not moving and appeared to be drifting. Could it be debris from an old mission? Ryan Carter asked as he joined them. "No," Lisa said, checking her records. "No human mission has ever sent anything that looks like this. And look at these readings. It's giving off energy signatures that don't match any of our technology." Jake made a decision that would change everything. Prep the rescue shuttle. If there's someone in trouble up there, we need to help them. "Sir," Ryan said carefully, We don't know what that thing is. It could be dangerous. It could also be someone who needs help, Jake replied. That's what we do. We help people in trouble. 2 hours later, Jake's shuttle approached the strange craft. Through the viewing window, they could see it was definitely not human-made. The surface was smooth and curved in ways that seemed almost alive. Strange lights flickered weakly along its sides. I'm reading 3 life signs inside, Lisa reported from her scanner. Whatever they are, they're alive. Can we dock with it? Jake asked. There's what looks like an airlock on the side, Lisa said. I think I can connect our shuttle to it. Inside the Velinari ship, the 3 aliens heard strange sounds from their airlock. Polak grabbed a small device that could record everything. If they were about to be killed by Deathworlders, at least their people would know what happened. They're coming inside, Genty whispered. Stay together. Don't make any sudden moves. The airlock opened with a hiss. Jake Morrison stepped through, followed by Lisa and Ryan. The first thing he noticed was how small the ship was inside. Everything seemed built for creatures much shorter than humans. The air smelled different too, like flowers and clean water. Then he saw them. 3 small beings with blue scales and large purple eyes were pressed against the far wall. They looked terrified. Jake held up his hands to show he was not carrying weapons. Hello, he said softly. We saw your ship and thought you might need help. The aliens stared at him in shock. Yulnov could not believe what she was seeing. The Deathworlder was huge, probably twice her height, with muscles visible even through his clothing. But he was not attacking. He was speaking in a calm voice, and his body language seemed peaceful. You help, she managed to say in broken English. The Velinari had been studying human languages during their monitoring. Yes, Jake nodded. Your ship looks damaged. Do you need food? Water? Medical assistance? This confused the aliens even more. Why would a dangerous predator offer food and medical help? Was this some kind of hunting strategy they did not understand? Lisa stepped forward slowly. She was smaller than Jake and seemed less threatening to the frightened aliens. My name is Lisa. What are your names? I am Yulmuth, the lead alien said carefully. These are Polak and Genty. We are Velinari. Velinari, Lisa repeated, trying to pronounce it correctly. That's a beautiful name. Are you hurt? Is anyone injured? The aliens exchanged glances. This was not what they expected from savage Deathworlders. The humans seemed genuinely concerned about their welfare. Jake reached into his backpack and pulled out some emergency rations. Are you hungry? This is food from our world. Yulnoth stared at the small package in horror. Food from a Deathworld probably contained all kinds of dangerous substances. The proteins alone might be toxic to Velinari biology, but the human was offering it with what looked like kindness. Thank you, she said politely, taking the package but not opening it. We are grateful for your concern. Ryan was examining the ship's walls with interest. This technology is incredible. How does your propulsion system work? You want to learn about our ship? Polak asked in surprise. You are not going to take it apart? Why would we take it apart? Ryan replied, It's your ship. We just want to understand how it works. Human science could learn a lot from meeting other people from space. The Velinari were completely confused now. Everything they had learned about humans suggested they were violent conquerors who took what they wanted by force. But these humans were polite, helpful, and respectful. We can tow your ship back to our space station, Jake offered. Our engineers might be able to help fix whatever is broken. You would do this for strangers? Genty asked. Of course, Lisa said with a smile. That's what neighbors do. They help each other. As the human shuttle towed the damaged Velinari ship toward Earth, both groups were trying to understand each other. The humans were excited about meeting their first aliens, but tried to stay calm and friendly. The Velinari were terrified, but beginning to wonder if everything they thought about humans might be wrong. Back on the Velinari homeworld, the emergency signal from Scout Ship 7 had caused panic. The High Council was meeting in emergency session to discuss what to do if the humans had captured their people. "We must assume the worst," Elder Kethler said grimly. "The Deathworlders have our scouts. They will learn our location and capabilities." But Admiral Zeektar was reading the latest transmission from Yilmouth with confusion. The message says they are being helped, not captured. The humans are offering medical care and food. "It must be some kind of trick," another council member said. "Deathworlders are cunning hunters. They are probably studying our people before deciding how to use them." No one on either side realized that this simple rescue mission was about to change how both species saw each other forever. The fear and misunderstanding that had kept them apart was about to be challenged by something more powerful than either had expected: basic kindness between strangers in need. The attack came without warning. General Vexkar of the Korthik hegemony watched from his command ship as his fleet surrounded the peaceful Velinari colony on Shelter Prime. The planet was home to 3 million Velinari who had never seen war in their entire lives. "Begin the assault," Vexkar commanded. His soldiers were excited for battle. The Korthik were a warrior race who believed that strength meant everything. They had been looking for an excuse to take Velinari territory for years. "Sir," his aide reported, "our intelligence says the Velinari have made contact with the Deathworld. Species called humans. Should we be concerned?" Vexkar laughed, showing his sharp teeth. "Humans are far away on their dangerous planet. By the time they could respond to any call for help, we will control this entire system. Besides, why would Deathworlders help peaceful weaklings like the Velinari?" On Shelter Prime, the colonists ran in panic as Korthik ships filled the sky. The Velinari had only peaceful technology. Their ships could fly fast, and their shields could protect them for a while. But they had no weapons of war. Colony leader Texmore sent out a desperate message to anyone who would listen. "This is Shelter Prime Colony. We are under attack by the Korthik hegemony. We have no military defenses. Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help." The message traveled across space and reached Earth 12 hours later. Jake Morrison was in a meeting with the new Earth Space Command when Lisa Brooks burst into the room. "Captain, we just received this transmission from our Velinari friends," she said, playing the recording. Jake listened to the frightened voice of Texmore asking for help. The sounds of explosions could be heard in the background. He looked around. The table at the other Earth commanders. "How long would it take us to get there?" he asked. Commander Beth Williams, the new head of Earth space operations, checked her computer. "With our fastest ships, about 18 hours. But sir, we have no idea what we would be flying into." "We know the Velinari need help," Jake said firmly. "That's enough for me." Admiral Scott Turner shook his head. "This could be a trap. We barely know these aliens. Why should we risk human lives for them?" "Because it's the right thing to do," Jake replied. "They helped us understand that we're not alone in the universe. When they needed rescue, we helped them. Now they need help again." The debate continued for an hour, but in the end, Earth's leaders agreed to send help. They had only 3 ships capable of long-distance space travel, but they would have to be enough. Jake took command of the lead ship, the U.E.'s Defender. His crew included Lisa Brooks as communications officer and a new pilot named Lucy Chun. Lucy was small but fearless, known for being able to fly anything with engines. "I've never been in a space battle before," Lucy admitted as they prepared to leave Earth. "Neither have any of us," Jake said. "We'll figure it out as we go." The flight to Shelter Prime took 19 hours. During the trip, Lisa worked with Dr. Amy Foster, Earth's best language expert, to learn more Velinari words. They wanted to be able to communicate clearly when they arrived. The Velinari language has no words for many types of weapons, Dr. Foster noted. They literally cannot describe most military equipment because they have never needed such things. When the human ships finally reached Shelter Prime, they found the planet surrounded by Korthic vessels. The alien warships were large and covered with weapon systems. It looked like they were built for nothing but fighting. There are at least 20 enemy ships, reported Kevin Martinez, the weapons officer. Our 3 ships are badly outnumbered. Size isn't everything, Jake said, remembering his military training. Lisa, try to contact the Velinari on the planet. Let them know help has arrived. The transmission from the surface was weak but clear. Human friends, thank you for coming, but it may be too late. The Korthic have taken most of our cities. Many of our people are trapped. General Vexkar noticed the 3 small ships approaching his fleet. He was amused rather than worried. 3 tiny vessels against my entire battle group? These humans must be even more stupid than they are savage. But the Korthic general soon learned that humans fought differently than anyone else in the galaxy. Instead of attacking directly, Jake's ships split up and used hit-and-run tactics. They would appear, fire at a Korthic ship, then disappear behind asteroids or space debris before return fire could hit them. They're like insects. Vexkar growled as another of his ships reported damage. They sting and then fly away before we can swat them. Lucy Chun proved to be a brilliant pilot. She flew the Defender through the Korthic fleet like it was an obstacle course, never staying in one place long enough to be targeted. The human ships were smaller and faster than the enemy vessels, and the human crews were more creative in how they used this advantage. Kevin, target their communication arrays, Jake ordered. If we can stop them from talking to each other, they can't coordinate their attacks. The strategy worked. Soon the Korthic ships were having trouble working together. Each ship was fighting, alone instead of as part of a fleet. But the real turning point came when Jake decided to rescue the Velinari prisoners directly. Instead of just fighting the Korthic ships in space, he took a small team down to the planet's surface. This is crazy, Kevin said as they prepared to land near a Korthic prison camp. We'll be completely outnumbered down there. Maybe, Jake replied. But the Korthic won't expect us to attack them on the ground. They think we're just going to fight their ships. The rescue mission was dangerous, but successful. Jake's team used stealth and surprise to free over 1,000 Velinari prisoners. When the freed colonists saw humans fighting to protect them, everything changed. Tex Moore was among the rescued prisoners. When Jake helped him to safety, the Velinari leader looked up at the tall human with tears in his large purple eyes. Why? Tex Moore asked. Why do you risk your lives for people you barely know? Jake thought about the question as he helped load Velinari civilians onto the rescue ships. Because you're not just people we barely know, he said finally. You're our friends, and friends help each other. The battle continued for 2 more days, but the tide had turned. The Korthic had expected an easy victory over defenseless Velinari, not a complex fight against determined humans who refused to give up. Finally, General Vexkar decided to retreat. He had lost too many ships and gained nothing. As his fleet pulled back, he sent the final message to the humans. This is not over, Deathworlders. You have made enemies of the Korthic hegemony. Jake's response was simple. Then you shouldn't have attacked our friends. As the Korthic ships disappeared into deep space, the Velinari colonists gathered to thank their human rescuers. For the first time, they saw humans not as terrifying predators from a nightmare world, but as brave defenders who used their strength to protect the innocent. Text single quotes Moore spoke for all the colonists when he said, We were wrong about your species. We thought you were monsters because you come from a dangerous world. Now we understand that your world made you strong so you could protect those who are not strong. The rescue of Shelter Prime changed everything between humans and Velinari. But it also sent a message across the galaxy that would soon bring new challenges and new opportunities for both species. After the battle at Shelter Prime, everything changed between humans and Velinari. The fear that had kept the two species apart was replaced by curiosity and friendship. Both governments decided to start a cultural exchange program to help there. People understand each other better. Dr. Amy Foster was chosen to lead the human side of the program. She had always been fascinated by languages and cultures, and now she had the chance to study an entirely alien way of life. The Velinari sent their best diplomat, Zektar, to work with her. I must admit, Zektar said during their first meeting, I was terrified of meeting humans in person. Your reputation as Deathworlders made me expect savage monsters. Amy laughed. Gently. And now that you've met us? Now I see that your strength comes from caring about others, not from wanting to hurt them, Zektar replied. It is very different from what we expected. The exchange program brought surprising discoveries. For both sides, human engineers worked with Velinari scientists to create new technologies. The Velinari were amazed by human creativity and problem-solving skills. Humans were impressed by Velinari precision and attention to detail. Patricia Stone was one of the human engineers working on joint projects. She was a practical woman who loved solving difficult problems. Her Velinari partner, scientist Colvin, was exactly the opposite. Careful, methodical, and afraid of taking risks. Why do you always want to test things immediately? Colvin asked as Patricia prepared to try their new engine design. Should we not run more calculations first? Sometimes you have to try things to see if they work, Patricia replied. We can calculate all we want, but the real test is turning it on and seeing what happens. This difference in approach led to amazing results. Human willingness to experiment combined with Velinari, careful planning created technologies that neither species could have developed alone. But the most important part of the exchange came when Zektar visited Earth. He had spent months learning about human culture from books and videos. But seeing the Death World in person was completely different. Dr. Robert Hayes was chosen to be Zektar's guide on Earth. Robert was a biologist who specialized in extreme environments. He understood that Zektar would need help dealing with Earth's dangerous conditions. The gravity here is stronger than on my homeworld, Zektar said as they walked through a park in Colorado, and the air feels thick and heavy. That's because our atmosphere has more oxygen, Robert explained. Your people evolved breathing thinner air, but you'll get used to it. What amazed Zektar most was not Earth's dangers, but how humans had learned to live with them. Instead of hiding from their planet's challenges, humans had turned them into opportunities. You built your cities to survive earthquakes, Zektar observed, looking at the flexible buildings around them. You plant trees that can live through storms. You even use the power of wind and water to make electricity. We learned that fighting our planet was useless, Robert said. It's better to work with Earth than against it. The real breakthrough came when Zektar experienced human art and music. Robert took him to a concert where a symphony orchestra was playing. The Velinari diplomat sat in amazement as human musicians created beautiful sounds together. This is incredible, Zektar whispered. Each musician is playing something different, but together they make something beautiful. That's how humans work best, Robert said. We're all different, but when we cooperate, we can create amazing things. After the concert, Zektar asked to visit an art museum. He spent hours looking at paintings and sculptures created by humans throughout their history. What struck him most was how much human art showed both the beauty and danger of their world. Your artists paint storms, wars, but they also paint flowers and children, he noted. You see both the terrible and wonderful sides of life. Maybe that's why we understand that strength should protect beauty, not destroy it, Robert suggested. Meanwhile, human scientists were learning just as much from visiting the Velinari homeworld. The peaceful planet showed them what a civilization could accomplish when it focused on growth and learning instead of conflict. But the peaceful exchange was interrupted by terrible news. A massive solar flare was heading toward the Velinari homeworld. The radiation would destroy their orbital cities and kill millions of their people. Our evacuation ships cannot handle that level of radiation, Zekdar explained desperately to the Human Council. The energy from the solar flare will burn through our shields like they are made of paper. Jake Morrison, now promoted to Admiral, studied the evacuation plans. How much time do you have? 6 days before the radiation reaches our cities, Zekdar replied. We can maybe save half our people with our current ships. That's not good enough, Jake said firmly. We'll help you save everyone. The human rescue fleet was led by Susan Gray, one of Earth's best pilots. She had volunteered for the dangerous mission, even though flying near a solar flare would test the limits of human technology. The radiation levels will be extreme, warned Dr. Foster as the fleet prepared to leave. Even with our strongest shields, it will be dangerous. The Velinari took a chance on trusting us, Susan replied. Now it's our turn to take a chance on helping them. The evacuation was the largest rescue operation in galactic history. Human ships, built to survive in Earth's harsh environment, proved they could also survive the deadly radiation from the solar flare. Working around the clock, human and Velinari crews saved every single person from the orbital cities. Was on one of the last ships to leave. As he watched human rescue workers helping Velinari children into safety pods, he finally understood what made humans special. You do not help us because you want something in return, he said to Susan as her ship carried them away from the dying cities. You help because you believe it is right. That's what neighbors do, Susan said simply. They help each other in times of trouble. The successful evacuation changed how the entire galaxy saw humans. Other species began to realize that the fearsome Deathworlders were not conquerors but protectors. Messages of friendship started arriving on Earth from planets across known space. But the Korthuk hegemony was not pleased with these developments. General Vex Carr watched the rescue operation with growing anger. The human Velinari alliance was inspiring other peaceful species to resist Korthik expansion. If we allow this friendship to continue, he told his war council, soon every weak species in the galaxy will think they can stand against us. We must destroy both humans and Velinari before their alliance spreads. The general began planning the largest military operation in Korthik history. He would attack both Earth and the Velinari homeworld at the same time, destroying both species before they could inspire any more resistance. But Vex Carr had made one crucial mistake. He still thought of humans as simple Deathworld savages. He did not understand that humans who fought to protect their friends were far more dangerous than humans who fought for conquest. The stage was set for a final battle that would determine the future of the galaxy. The question was not whether humans and Velinari could survive the coming attack, but whether their friendship was strong enough to change how all species related to each other forever. The warning came from an unexpected source. A Korthik officer named Sub-Commander Naltek had grown tired of his people's endless wars. He secretly sent a message to both Earth and the Velinari homeworld. General Vex Carr is assembling the largest fleet in Korthik history, his message said. He plans to attack both your worlds at the same time. You have maybe 10 days to prepare. Commander Beth Williams read the message with growing concern. She had become Earth's main contact with alien species after the success of the Velinari alliance. Now she faced the biggest challenge of her career. "How many ships are we talking about?" she asked her intelligence team. "Our best estimate is over 200 Korthic warships," reported Lieutenant Danny Torres. "That's more than 5 times the size of any fleet they've used before." The situation seemed hopeless. Earth had only 12 ships capable of deep space combat. The Velinari had even fewer, and their ships were designed for peaceful exploration, not war. But Jake Morrison had an idea that could change everything. He called an emergency meeting with both human and Velinari leaders. "We can't win by fighting the way the Korthak expect," he said. "They're planning to destroy us by using overwhelming force. So we need to fight smarter, not harder." Zektar, now serving as the official Velinari ambassador to Earth, leaned forward with interest. "What do you have in mind?" "We combine our strengths," Jake explained. "Human ships are tough and flexible. Velinari ships are fast and have advanced sensors. Together, we might be able to level the playing field." Dr. Amy Foster had been studying Korthic military tactics during the crisis. "Their culture values direct confrontation and shows of strength," she said. "They always attack the strongest. Target first to prove their superiority. Then we give them a target they can't resist," Jake said with a smile. The plan was risky, but clever. The human and Velinari fleets would split into 2 groups. One group would defend Earth, making themselves look like the main force. The other group would hide near the Velinari homeworld and wait for the perfect moment to strike. Susan Gray volunteered to lead the defense of Earth. Her squadron included some of the best pilots from both species, flying ships that combined human durability with Velinari technology. "Remember," she told her pilots, "we're not trying to win this fight. We're trying to survive long enough for the second part of the plan to work." Meanwhile, Jake took command of the hidden fleet near the Velinari homeworld. His ships were equipped with new cloaking devices that the Velinari had never shared with anyone before. Even their own people didn't know how advanced their stealth technology had become. General Vexgar arrived at Earth with supreme confidence. His massive fleet filled the space around the planet like a dark cloud. He opened communications with the small human defense force. "Surrender now, and we will make your deaths quick," he announced. "Your little alliance cannot stand against the might of the Korthic hegemony." Susan's response was typically human. "Thanks for the offer, but we'll pass. Earth doesn't surrender to bullies." The battle began with the Korthic fleet launching everything they had at the human defenders. Susan's ships used hit-and-run tactics, just like at Shelter Prime, but this time they were greatly outnumbered. "We can't keep this up much longer," reported Kevin Martinez from his gunship. "They're wearing us down." "Just hold on a little longer," Susan replied, dodging between asteroid fragments as Korthic weapons fire lit up the space around her. The plan is working. She was right. General Vexgar was so focused on destroying the human ships that he committed almost his entire fleet to the Earth battle. Only a small force was left to attack the Velinari homeworld. That was exactly what Jake had been waiting for. His hidden fleet uncloaked and struck the Korthic ships, attacking the Velinari with complete surprise. "This is Admiral Morrison to all ships," he announced. "Time to show these bullies what happens when they threaten our friends." The cloaked fleet included ships from both species, but also something new. Several peaceful alien races had quietly sent help after seeing how humans and Velinari protected each other. The galaxy was tired of Korthic aggression, and the human-Velinari alliance had given them hope. The surprise attack worked perfectly. The Korthic ships at the Velinari homeworld were destroyed quickly, and Jake's fleet immediately jumped to Earth to help Susan's defenders. When Jake's ships appeared behind the main Korthic fleet, General Vexcar realized he had been outmaneuvered. The humans had not fought like savage Deathworlders. They had fought like intelligent strategists who cared more about protecting their friends than proving their strength. Impossible, Vexcar muttered as his fleet found itself caught between two enemy forces. Deathworlders are supposed to be mindless brutes who attack directly. The final battle was fierce, but short. The Korthic fleet, designed for overwhelming weaker opponents, could not adapt to fighting a coordinated defense by multiple species working together. When the last Korthic ship finally retreated, the space around Earth was filled with vessels from a dozen different worlds. Species that had never worked together before had united to stop the Korthic expansion. Jake received a transmission from the leader of the Gentlefolk, a species that had been hiding from the Korthic for years. Admiral Morrison, the alien said, in careful English, "We have watched your alliance with the Velinari. You have shown us that strength can be used to protect rather than conquer. Our people wish to join your coalition." Similar messages came from other species. The quiet swimmers, the stone builders, the sky dancers, all wanted to be part of an alliance that protected the peaceful and punished the aggressive. Dr. Foster worked with translators from many worlds to establish the Galactic Cooperation Council. For the first time in known history, dozens of species agreed to work together for mutual protection and peaceful development. Zector stood with Jake on the observation deck of the new council station, watching ships from many worlds working together in the construction bays below. "When my people first detected humans, we thought you were monsters from a nightmare world," Siktar said. "We were so wrong about what makes someone dangerous." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "We thought you were dangerous because you came from a world of conflict and struggle," Zektar explained. "But that struggle taught you to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The real monsters are those who use their strength to hurt the weak." Jake nodded, watching as human engineers worked alongside Velinari scientists and pilots from a dozen other worlds. Maybe that's the real lesson here. It's not where you come from that matters. It's what you choose to do with your strength. The Korthic hegemony still existed, but they no longer expanded unchallenged. Every time they threatened a peaceful world, the Galactic Cooperation Council was there to help. And leading the defense were the humans, the Deathworlders who had taught the galaxy that true strength comes from protecting others. General Vexcar, now demoted and disgraced, watched from his exile as species after species joined the human-led alliance. He finally understood his mistake. He had thought humans were dangerous because they were savage. But they were really dangerous because they convinced others to be brave. On Earth, children learned about the galaxy in schools, where Velinari teachers worked alongside human ones. On the Velinari homeworld, young people studied human literature and art. Across known space, the idea spread that different species could work together to create something better than any of them could achieve alone. The age of conquest was ending. The age of cooperation had begun. And it all started because one species of Deathworlders decided that their strength should be used to protect their friends instead of destroying their enemies. The galaxy would never be the same.